This story happened on November 14, 1995 in Beijing. At midnight, bus 375 pulled out of the Yuan bus terminus. This was the last bus of the night, and its destination was Xiangshan, Fragrant Hills. On board were the driver and a female conductor. The night was bitterly cold, and a harsh wind was blowing. It stopped at the south gate next to the summer palace, and when the doors opened, 4 passengers got on. An old lady, a young couple, and a young man. The young couple sat up at the front, behind the driver, while the old lady and the boy sat on the other side of the bus, beside the doors. As the bus drove through the night, all they could hear was the drone of the engine. It was a quiet, remote area, and there were no other vehicles on the road. After a while, the driver spotted 2 shadows by the side of the road, waving at the bus. The driver stopped, and when the doors opened, 3 people got on. There were 2 men who were supporting a 3rd man between them, holding him up by his shoulders. The man in the middle looked disheveled, and his head was bowed, so nobody could see his face. All 3 were dressed in traditional Chinese robes from the Qing dynasty, and their faces were deathly pale. The other passengers on the bus were scared and glanced nervously at each other as the driver pulled off and continued down the road. The female conductor tried to calm everyone down by saying, "Don't be afraid. They could be just actors shooting a costume drama in the vicinity. Maybe they got drunk after work and forgot to change clothes." The old woman kept turning around and staring at the 3 strangers who were seated at the back of the bus. There was an eerie silence. None of the passengers said a word. All they could hear was the wind whistling outside. After 3 or 4 stops, the young couple got off the bus. The bus driver and the female conductor were chatting and laughing. The old lady suddenly jumped to her feet and hit the young man sitting in front of her. She was shouting and making a big fuss, telling everyone that he had stolen her purse. The young man stood up and started arguing with her, but the old woman grabbed him by the collar and demanded that the driver let them off the next stop so she could bring him to the police station. The young man was speechless. When the bus stopped, the old lady dragged the young man out. They watched as the bus drove off into the night, and the old lady breathed a sigh of relief.
"Where's the police station?"
asked the young man.
"There is no police station,"
the old lady replied.
"I just saved your life." "What? How did you save my life?"
the young man said, puzzled.
"Those 3 people were ghosts,"
the old lady replied.
"Ever since they got in the bus, I had my doubts about them, so I kept looking back at them. It so happened that there was a wind blowing through the window, and I saw everything. It lifted their long robes, and I saw that they had no legs."
The young man stared at the old lady in surprise. He started sweating. He couldn't say a word. The old lady called the police and told them what she had seen. The next day, bus 375 failed to report to the station. It had vanished along with the driver and the female conductor. The police searched the entire city, but could find no trace of it. They questioned the old woman and the young man, but they dismissed their story and decided that they were mentally ill. That night, the Beijing Evening News and the Beijing News reported on the story. The old woman and the young man were both interviewed live on TV. 2 days later, the police eventually found the missing bus. It was submerged in the Miyun Reservoir, about 100 kilometers from Fragrant Hills. Inside the bus, they discovered 3 badly decomposed bodies: the bus driver, the female conductor, and an unidentified man. There were a number of other mysteries surrounding this case. 1. The bus did not have enough gas to drive all the way to Mayun Reservoir, and when the police opened the petrol tank, they found it was filled with blood. 2. Even though the bodies were found only 2 days after they disappeared, they were very badly decomposed. Even if it was summer, the process of decomposition could not be this quick. An autopsy confirmed that there had been no intentional meddling with the bodies. How could they decompose so quickly? 3. The police did a strict inspection of all the security tapes on each entrance leading to the Mayun Reservoir, but the bus wasn't seen in any of them. In fact, they found nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. How could the bus get there without being seen? To this day, it remains an unsolved mystery.
Hey, what's up, everybody? That about wraps it up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was a story that I actually heard of not too long ago myself, so I do apologize if some of you out there have heard it already. I was actually at work one day, and one of my buddies was telling me that he was watching a YouTuber, Mike Chen, Mikey Chen, and he was doing a food review, and he had told this story towards the end of the video. And there are a lot of conflicts with this story because some believe that it's just an urban legend, whereas some people think that it's actually real, or they believe that it's real. And there are various versions of this story as well. For instance, instead of the old lady, it was actually an old man. And then instead of the purse, it was actually a wallet that was claimed to have been stolen. And then that was the reason of them getting off the bus. Some of the details in this story have been switched around according to which version you've read or heard. But I mean, the moral of the story still remains the same. I know that the bus number in different stories is like bus 330, whereas this one was bus 375. So I mean, yeah, I do see the conflicting information and why people don't think it's true, but then some people do stand by it, and some of the sources that I found saying that it's an unsolved mystery and people have no idea what really happened or what took place that day, which makes it super creepy. So I mean, yeah, if you want to dig into it, if you've got some time and you want to do your own research, you should just Google it up, and you'll find quite a few resources, forums on Reddit and such. Yeah, it's kind of a rabbit hole of its own. But yeah, most importantly, I hope you guys all are doing well. I hope your guys' family is doing good. And please do submit your stories over to me. If you've got any questions regarding that, just shoot me an email, and I'll leave that information in the description box below. But once again, thank you guys so much for getting me past 2,000 subs. I love you guys. I consider you guys family now. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for being so patient. Have a good night. Peace.